And so for those of you who may not know me, not the people here in the room, my name is Gianopoulos. I'm the MetroStar University Training Manager. Rob and Ali have tolerated me here at MetroStar for 9.5 years, so I thank you for your indulgence. So if you guys have any questions about training, or not just training, anything in general MetroStar related, please do not hesitate to email me. Right now, that's the best way to get in touch with me. I am here at headquarters every Tuesday and Friday, and as reality permits, I will be increasing my days here at the office. So, but I am reachable by email even after hours, as many people will attest. 2 o'clock in the morning, what are you doing up? So, for those who may not know a bit about my background, I've been teaching computers in the DC area since mid-90s. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, Adobe certified, Apple certified, CompTIA certified, certifiable. Many of the courses in MSU I've delivered over the past few years. It's been 4 or 5 years we've been running MSU now. So we've got over 300 courses, which is great. So please feel free to access, and again, if you have any questions about stuff, please do not hesitate to ask. I'm gonna get past these. So I'm not here to teach technical or soft skills or whatever. I'm here today to explain what happened on November 14th. We had a little bit of excitement here at the office that day, of which I'm to blame. And I figured if people would appreciate an explanation. And more important, so I would like to explain to you guys what happened that day, what caused it to happen, and hopefully what you guys can do to prevent it from happening to yourselves. From speaking for myself, I do not plan on an encore performance. So, and also, just so that you all know, again, people online, please post in the chat or use your microphones. If you're not actively talking and you're using your microphone, mute the microphone when you're not speaking so we don't get that feedback over the speakers. And Will, if you do use the chat, Will's going to let me know that there's a question online. He would be the Raj to my Frasier, for those of you who remember that show. And again, any question you guys have, please feel free to ask at any time. I'll answer just about anything. Some things I might take offline. So on November 14th, during an HR status, our weekly HR meeting, I suffered something called an aortic dissection. That's the actual technical term. An aneurysm in the main artery coming on my heart, the aorta, occurred, which led to the dissection. And I explained to you guys in the next slide or two what a dissection and the aneurysm is. So, luckily, I was very, very lucky. It happened during the meeting. Paul recognized that I was having a seizure. Kelsey remembered that someone had EMT training. As luck would have it, the person with that EMT training was walking right past the office, Chris Mitchell. So he was able to do some preliminary work. So when the EMTs did come in, they didn't have to spend that time. So that saved a lot of time and potentially my life. Brittany for fighting with the EMTs. I remember that. And thank you. Thank you, everyone. I will say, when it hit, I knew I was in very, very big trouble. And a lot of you guys have heard me say a lot of this stuff, so I apologize for repeating myself. But even though I knew I was in big trouble, I was not afraid. Everybody here, I knew, would do what was needed to make sure I was okay. And in part, that's a testimony to Ali and Rob for putting together a company like that, and it's a testimony to all of you. Think about when we go to our customer sites. Can you really say that about some of the sites that we go to? Or previous jobs you might have held? I know where I used to work, one of the first things through the executive's mind, hey, we can save on payroll. That would be one of the first things they would have thought. So there was no fear on my part. So the support you guys gave me through emails and messages and communications through Rob and my wife and all that, thank you. That helped a lot for recovery. The tolerance, the patience, and just the support, both reverent and irreverent. In fact, Ashley, I want to give you a special thank you, Ashley. She sent me this shirt last week. It took me a few days to figure out who did it, who sent it. So Ashley, thank you very much for the shirt if you're listening. For those of you who can't read it, it says, "Nice try, heart, I'm still here." So, once the EMTs came, they wheeled me out through the open area here in Reston on a stretcher, half dead. Little did I know how close that was. They sent me over to Reston Hospital. The cardiologist there with a catheter recognized what I was going through very quickly, and also, just as more importantly, acknowledged that it was beyond his capability to fix. So they medevaced me on a helicopter from Reston to Fairfax. My wife, who was there at that, she got there just in time to sign the papers for the helicopter. I was out of it at that point. I remember nothing after being put into the ambulance. But apparently my wife, she said to me, "See, honey, you're going on a helicopter, just like the TV show MASH." And my response was, "Yay." Someone commented, "See, even when you were out of it, you were still you." That was on the end. At Fairfax Hospital, Dr. Sarin performed open heart surgery. They cut away the part of the aorta that was damaged, replaced it with a porcine aorta valve from a pig. So I'm no longer kosher. Not that I ever was. Boy. Baby tastes great though. So he took care of that. I woke up and unfortunately I was still bleeding a lot. I did suffer some kidney damage temporarily. That remedied itself. I was not getting enough oxygen to the brain. Luckily, there was no drain damage. Thank you for catching that, Jesse. That was a concern. But that corrected itself. But I did lose a lot of blood. I was still bleeding a lot. So the next day, they had to crack me open again, like a lobster, and go back in and check the heart again. So I had 2 open heart surgeries back to back. I'm still taking the maximum amount of iron you can possibly take. I still do get cold a little bit. Not so much right now. I'm good. I woke up 10 days later after the surgery. Or I should say I became lucid 10 days later. I spent a total of 10 days in ICU, and then I spent the next few days in what's called step down, where you get stabilized. Once I woke up, you know the doctors always ask you the questions, "Sir, do you know your name? What year is it? Who's the president?" To which I replied, "Do I have to?" And their response to that was, "We've been getting that response a lot lately." And it also, you know how people say that when people are in comas, they can hear what you say? We do. I don't remember much when I was out of it. I do remember hearing my wife's voice for being there every day. I do remember having some dreams that during some of them, I know I was in pain, I was fighting. One of them, if I did not succeed with what was going on in the dream, I knew for a fact I would lose my soul. And again, knowing that you guys were there, knowing that my family was there, my son, my daughter, my wife, that all helped me a lot. So again, I thank you. And then in addition, they keep asking those questions, and after a while, I guess the person asking me was my answers were not consistent, really strong meds. And so I was giving different answers. So they were starting to take, like I was being interrogated. I'm from New York City, guys. Don't get me mad. Yeah, I am afraid. I am in pain. I am helpless. And you're flipping interrogating me? Who the bleep do you think you are? So the next time the doctor said, sir, do you know your name? My response to him was, yes. My name is Inigo de Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Yes, I did actually say that. And I remember the nurse turned to my wife, and this was one of the, and in the ICU, they don't want to get connected to you. They don't want to make that personal connection because there's a good chance you're not going to make it. And one of the nurses was brave enough to get to know me, so she knew I quoted movies, I joked a lot. So she turned to my wife and said, is John joking? And my wife, God bless Kim, she said, 50-50, you can go either way, I don't know which one. True story, Scouts off. So, and there were some other things that I did. A lot of that was bleeding off the fear, bleeding off that, getting almost up to manic levels. Once I was in step down, my cardiologist explained to me what I encountered. Once I was stable, what I encountered and what the odds were that I'd be beat. Half the people who go through what I did don't make it to the hospital. Of those who do, half of them don't make it off the table. So for an aortic dissection, it's a 75% mortality rate, which shows what you should already know. I'm just too stubborn. Or God said, he's not done yet. Send them back, percolate a little bit longer. After step down, I was at the rehabilitation center over at Mount Vernon for 2 weeks, learning to take a shower without passing out, learning to walk, being able to access my smartphone for more than 20 minutes without being exhausted. That alone was wiping me out. And the rehabilitation center was great. It's really what I needed. I was not home for Thanksgiving, but I did make it home in time for Christmas. So I mentioned a couple of things. I suffered an aortic aneurysm, so that caused a bulge. That is a weakening of an artery, of a blood vessel, and that happened in the upper part of my aorta. That led to the dissection. What happens with the dissection? Your arteries are made up of multiple walls, and the inner wall tore from the aneurysm. And what happened is blood was flowing in between the walls of the artery. How many of you have ever had a problem in your bathroom? The water is leaking. The water gets between the tile and the drywall of your bathroom. Raise your hands. Anyone ever have anything like that happen? Nasty, isn't it, when it does? That's what happened to my aorta. A dissection could be ascending, the top half portion, or descending. Either way is extremely painful, debilitatingly so. I do not recall feeling any pain when I underwent the dissection. I think my mind was just saying, we are having none of that, thanks very much. We'll deal with it later. And for those who may not know, the aorta is the artery that comes out of the heart. So for me, the dissection was occurring shortly after it came out of the heart. So I was not getting enough blood to the rest of my body. This is a really good picture of what happens. Again, normal aorta, it goes straight through. You can see the multiple walls here. In a dissection, the inner wall tore and the blood flows in between. Another thing that probably helped me as far as surviving, I'm also about 10 to 15 years younger than anyone who normally goes through, who suffers a dissection. In fact, it was funny. They kept saying, he's so young. He's like, you know what? Where I work, I'm the old guy. So, we're doing okay? like I said, it has a 25% survivability rate. Part of it, I think, was that afterlife just was not ready for me. So what caused this? What could cause? There are a few things that can cause an aortic aneurysm, and the dissection. An injury could be the cause. You might be genetically disposed, more likely to get it due to your family background. You might have you might be sick with something else that caused the disorder. Or what's most likely what caused it for me was chronic high blood pressure. So constantly having high blood pressure is what caused the aneurysm to occur for me. Captain Campbell, they never asked me how many fingers. I think they got sick and tired of people asking. Technically, they have 10 fingers. Something about high blood pressure, and last week I attended a lecture over at the hospital on high blood pressure and heart valves. I figured that would only be good for you to know. 1 out of every 3 of us have high blood pressure, and you don't know it. That's white American males. Black Americans tend to have 40% high blood pressure. They have a higher tendency. Also, women, once they go through menopause, usually after age 65, their chance of high blood pressure dramatically increases. So instead of going up 5 to 10% each age category, it jumps almost 15%. And they are more likely to have high blood pressure than men at that point. 1,000 Americans die every day due to high blood pressure. Yeah, I was like, so things that we can do to control blood pressure is know what your numbers are. I don't use the United Health plan that we have here at MetroStar. I'm on my wife's health plan. Blue Cross Blue Shield actually gave me a free blood pressure machine before all this happened. I got it after. And actually, we got the free one right after we bought one. Ironically, interestingly enough, the one they sent me for free was the same model that we bought. It's the same model that we have actually here in the break room, here in Reston. Good machine. Avoid excessive alcohol. Make sure you get enough sleep. Having a healthy diet, having a healthy weight. Manage your stress. Limit the amount of sodium, salt in your diet. I know we love the wings and they're traditional, which is why I got them, but they're really not. They have a lot of salt in it. Also, don't smoke. Not even cut down smoking. Don't smoke. And getting your exercise. Symptoms for an aneurysm: fatigue, back pain, having a pulsating pain is a sign of an aneurysm. You might go into a seizure, at which point it's too late. It's progressing into the dissection at that point. For dissection, ripping back pain, as I mentioned, going unconscious, short of breath, unable to move legs or not being able to move, having stroke-like symptoms. I was having difficulty speaking. Chris Mitchell told me that I was complaining about a ringing in my ears. I don't remember that. So for now, I'm recovering very well. They replaced not just the aorta, but also the valve as well. I've lost 25 pounds, which is great. The dissection diet, the weight loss plan you'll die for. I don't recommend it for everybody, but I look at every silver lining in every cloud I can. I've been out of the office for 4 months, almost 4 months now. I still get tired. My endurance isn't what it should be. It's getting better. After being here all day, I go home and I go to bed early and I barely move all night. It's a question of who's snoring louder, me or the dog. I go to cardiac rehab 3 days a week, which is basically going to the gym where they monitor your blood pressure and your heart rate. The first couple of weeks, they actually had to stop me from exercising because my blood pressure was too low. I was on about 2 or 3 different blood pressure medicines. We were trying to get the cocktail just right. I haven't had that happen since. Now I go to the gym twice, whether it's going to the gym twice or one day, maybe I'll just do a power walk through Fair Oaks Mall if it's kind of nasty out, or around the block for about a mile or so. I've been eating less. When I first came home from the hospital, I barely had an appetite, so I kept losing the weight. The weight loss has stopped just from that, so I gotta get smarter. Today's not helping. I do have some restrictions. The restrictions I have, when I first came out of the hospital, when I first woke up, I was not allowed to carry more than 5 pounds in each hand. That's been relaxed a little bit. I can now do 10 pounds in each hand, total of 20. So I was able to carry those boneless wings in. I'm not supposed to extend my arms straight upwards to the side or behind my back because that would stretch where they cracked sternum and also stretching the heart where they sewed it all in. When I asked what are these designed to do, it was explained to me they keep your insides where they belong. Okay, good to know. Nice goal to have. In fact, I woke up out of ICU. They explained to me my sternal precautions. They sent me down for x-rays. The first thing the technician asks of me, could you please grab the bar above your head? Oh my goodness. And I look, and it's like, I'd have to go like that. And I said, I could do that, but my insides will end up on the floor, so which do you want? Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. It's like, yeah, obviously you didn't. So I was in a really snarky mood when I woke up. Did I mention that? So yeah, cardiac rehab is still at Mount Vernon. They also have it in Chantilly. So I went to Mount Vernon since I live in Falls Church, so home was halfway. Also made it a lot easier for my wife coming home from work. She can stop by rehab. My son came a few times while I was there at rehab. Clay Calvert showed up once, which was nice. Thank you, Clay. And also thank you for all the phone calls. I did reach out to Jeff while I was in rehab. I shared with him, like, yeah, when you answer the phone, I almost answered, this is the ghost of training pause. You must complete all unfinished courses. And I thought it was too soon for him. So now I'm doing cardiac rehab over at Fairfax Hospital. That's where I go. Using the various machines. I'm just starting strength training, so I'm getting some of my strength back, slowly but surely. So what are some things you can do so that we don't have to carry you out of the office like they did me? First of all, having a life outside the office. We have a lot of fun here. Coming to work is not work. That's one part I missed a lot. So, but you gotta have a life outside, or being able to, once you go for the happy hour, when you're having food Fridays or even Salad Wednesdays, leave all the stuff at your desk. Relax and chill. That's gotta be part of it. Second, don't let stress get to you. That does a lot of high blood pressure. Now, having a teenage daughter who was in high school did not help. So, in fact, we had a person come in for stress management. We recorded that Star Talk that she delivered for us. So you guys can go back and listen to that. It's more of a self-hypnosis, meditation, which really does help a lot. So I highly recommend you go through that. Taking time out for yourself, not just out for yourself, but take yourself to the doctor, take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone. And last but not least, get your annual checkups. I was stupid. I was busy working, getting MSU stood up, getting MSU stable, dealing with my daughter, getting my son into college, getting my daughter out of high school, helping my wife, keeping her going. I mean, you got kids, you can see time is gone. It's like, oh, it's been 3 years already. You don't go to the doctor unless you're feeling sick. If I had gone to the doctor, getting my annual checkups, I would have known about my blood pressure, and I could have avoided a lot of the garbage I have to deal with now. I wouldn't have to be taking a dozen different medicines every day, twice a day. So do yourself that favor. So that being said, I'm going to leave it to the TV Doctors of America.
Scalpel.
Scalpel.
I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just a TV doctor.
I never went to college.
And if I had to watch an actual surgery, I'd probably faint. I don't do blood.
But now, thanks to Cigna, I can do more than just look the part.
Now I can make a real difference. Is that a foot?
We are the TV Doctors of America.
And we're partnering with Cigna to help save lives.
By getting you to a real doctor for an annual checkup.
So go, know, and take control of your health.
Doctor poses.
Cigna, together all the way.
So that being said, that's it. Probably the shortest talk I ever had with you guys. So March 14th, it wasn't so much the aneurysm that caused the trouble for me, it was the dissection. That's what almost killed me. They replaced the aorta, the upper aorta that was damaged. They replaced the valve. I am doing much, much better. Granted, I have a very low bar to exceed now, which I'm grateful. And like they said, go, know, and take care of yourself. Does anybody have any questions?
Do you at least remember any of the helicopter ride?
No, none of it. I remember the last thing I remember was them putting me into the ambulance at the loading dock. Kind of appropriate when you think about it. And loaded, fire one. And the next thing I remember was waking up in the ICU. They had already removed the breathing tube. My wife did show me a picture. I was hooked up to about 3 or 4 different machines, including they had a kidney dialysis machine ready just in case my kidneys did not repair. That's better now. They're better, much better. The damage was repaired. I do have 2 stones in my kidneys now, though, as a result of the damage, most likely, which the doctor said, heal up here first, and then we'll worry about down there. Yeah, no, I wish I remembered the helicopter ride. That's an $8,000 helicopter ride. Yeah, thank God for insurance. I think it cost us maybe $350.
That's the other takeaway is have insurance.
Oh, God, yes. One thing that I could, if I had both my wife's Blue Cross and United Healthcare, what Blue Cross didn't cover, I could then have submitted to United Healthcare. And I still would have made both deductibles very easily. Cardiac rehab over at Fairfax, it's not cheap. I had to take care of the deductible first, and it's $30 a visit. I'm there 3 days a week. But they're teaching me what's the proper way for me to use those machines so that I don't end up back at the hospital. Very important for me. Yes?
I would just reiterate for everybody that if you feel like a situation is emergency, to go ahead and call 911.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's some of the takeaways too. If you're on the other side, someone doesn't seem to be doing well, just go ahead and be proactive, because we honestly didn't know how serious it was.
Yeah. And if you're not feeling right, Go to the ER. Go to the doctor. Oh, no, I'm fine. I'll be okay. No.
Did you feel anything prior?
I was tired. My back hurt. But then again, I was spackling and sanding and painting my kitchen ceiling.
Oh my goodness.
So for a couple of weeks before, so that explained the back pain. Getting my daughter to college, I just figured it was my mind saying, "You're done. You made it." So it was just a relief from that. Looking back, yeah, it was probably just from the heart, the aorta, and the blood pressure. That's probably what it was. Ironically enough, I had my New Year's resolution was to go to the doctor, get that checkup, and do a complete workup to find out what's going on. My body just said, too late. So too bad, so sad. So it just decided to expedite matters. Yes?
Did you say the people in coma can hear you?
Yeah, I remember my wife being there. I remember her talking to me when I couldn't respond.
But you remember all the talk? You remember all the conversation?
Not all the conversations. I remember her being there. Her being there really helped me fight through everything. A lot of the dreams, I had some really weird stuff. Don't need drugs. Oh boy. And I spent too much time here at MetroStar. Some of the dreams kind of incorporated working with the Marines on TCWS and work. There was one nurse that I swear was Debbie Peterson.
That's scary.
And it might have been her, the person's stature and body type, and also her personality as well. That was the nurse who got to know me.
Could have been worse. Could have been Rob.
Rob's reaction, once he was able to talk to me, his reaction was pretty typical of most people. I'm so glad. I remember him saying to me, "I'm so glad I can speak with you, that you're here to talk with me and all that, but don't you ever flip and do this to me again." And I assured, "Yep, I'm good, I'm done, not again, I promise." But I don't remember specific conversations, but I remember her being there. And that's what helped me fight through. Again, most of those dreams were probably me fighting through the pain, fighting to come back and be back and stay back. So, any other questions online?
Best show on the planet is Grace. That's the only comment.
All right, so guys, thank you so very much. And like I said, I hope you never, ever go through what I did, or anything like that. And for those who don't know, Ashley, I hope your father's doing well, and recovered from his heart incident. So everybody, take care, and I'll see you around. Next week, Clay Conference giving us Star Talk on cybersecurity. Thank you.